Woo! Hey everybody, Jim Sammons here. Welcome to the Kayak Fishing Show live, brought to you by, as always, by Ballast Point Brewing Company. We're rocking the swinging fryer. Hopefully baseball comes back sometime, although it's not looking good. So maybe we'll have baseball next year. Cheers to y'all. It is super hot here in San Diego right now. So a cold beer is in order. Hope everybody's doing good during these crazy times. I know, I don't know about you guys, but I would certainly like to hit the reset button on this year. It's just been nuts. I haven't done much fishing. I haven't done any fishing really. The water has opened up back up, but I just haven't had a chance to get out. The times I've wanted to go out, it's been super windy. Or I've just had other stuff I have to do. So I'm hoping I can get out this week. I'm in dire need of some on the water therapy. Got a big announcement tomorrow, so please join us. And I don't even know what time I'm going to do it, but just keep visiting the page. But we have a pretty cool announcement we're very excited about that will be going out tomorrow. So please visit the page tomorrow. I'm not even sure if I'm doing video or if we're just going to be posting it, but there will be an announcement on our page sometime tomorrow. Got a couple of comments here already. It's actually Froglid. Wow, I'm the first and only one right now. Yeah, Froglid, that's because you came and posted this a half an hour before the show started. So we weren't quite ready at that point. Egowitz, how are you, my friend in Spain? I hope everything's good over there. I don't know what your regulations are and everything. I hope you've been able to get out on the water. Liam, also on our Kayak Fishing Tales page, thanks for joining us. We have a Gene Wilson saying hi to Egowitz. Egowitz saying hi, Gene. It's just a big love fest. And Egowitz saying hi, boss. And Reginald said, "Hey Jim, looking young there." Yeah, this is kind of the promo vid. My hair was a little darker there, and Jameson's beard is a little shorter there. Oh wait, I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? Jameson's beard looks shorter. My hair looks a little browner, not quite as gray as it is now. Getting older by the minute. Dave Hansen, beer o'clock. Yes. When isn't it? And my good friend Ulf, how are you, Ulf? How are things in Sweden? I know you guys have seemed to have had it a little bit easier than we did here. Feels bad for your buddy, man. Our friend Ulf, he posted a photo the other day that was just gruesome. A friend of his got jumped and his jaw was broken in like 4 places, and the picture was horrible. Didn't really need to see it, but man, I hope he's doing better. And there's Froglid. He's still on. Thanks, man. Anyway, this was as our friend, my videographer, who Will, or former videographer, posted the other day when we first posted this, saying this was his favorite episode, or definitely one of his favorite episodes. And I don't know if it's just the fact that, he was there, and enjoyed all the laughs we had and all that. But it is a fun episode. So with no further ado, I'm actually going to bring our good friend, Jameson Redding, up onto the screen. Jameson, what's happening?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, your beard is a lot longer now.
There's also a few white guys.
I was gonna say, it looks like there's some gray in it now.
Yeah, it's they're in there, so that's not far behind you.
two children later, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like Every time they do something to stress me out.
Yeah, you probably didn't have any kids at this point.
Oh no, yeah, because I've got a 4 and 2-year-old, so yeah, there were no kids. I don't even remember. That had to have been like 2015 when that was shot, I think.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I didn't actually check the date. It was season 6, and we're on season 11. So so 5 years ago. Plus, it was shot the year. It was shot the year before that, before it airs. So
yeah.
So
Gene says crank up the beard mower. Negative.
Well, that was the thing, and that's what this episode is all about. It was what did Will call it? Because I say beard versus hair. He said it was the beard versus locks.
Yes.
The beard versus locks challenge. And what was really fun, as I recall, I think we were on another shoot where this idea came up.
Yeah, we were at the Jackson Kayak Dealer Summit, and there were a few of frosty beverages involved. I know.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2.
I don't have the good stuff like you do, so if you want to ship some out this way, you're welcome. Rub it in. Anyway, there was a few of those involved, and I remember we kind of said, "Oh, we should make it some kind of challenge." And I don't remember. I think Will actually had the idea because you had the long hair and I had the beard, and I think both of us probably, because I know I picked you up at the airport and you never mentioned it, and I didn't mention it either. I think we were both like, maybe it's like not a real thing, and no one's gonna remember this. And then I know we kind of went and ate some lunch and then had to go pick up Will. And as soon as we get Will, he gets in the car and he's like, "All right, guys, here's how this challenge is going to work." I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Will would be kind of the instigating, trying to get that thing going. But what I remember also was pretty fun about, we had kind of an ongoing social media thing about it going too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that made it a lot of fun. But other than that, I mean, the trip itself was awesome. We had Jeff Herman was with us. Will Mansky, we're at the Will Mansky Ranch, right?
That's right.
We ate about 500 pounds of fried oysters one night.
Yeah, that was pretty epic. That ranch has this industrial kitchen. Like, you remember that? I mean, it was like this huge kitchen, and Will just like cooked it up and just made it.
It was. That place was super cool. And I mean, the first time I had been there was for the Heroes on the Water event years before that. But it's a weird place. It's like, oh, let's build a house. We need another room. No, we need another room. No, I think we need another room. And it was such a mishmash place. It's like you walked through one room to get to the other room to get to the other room.
And so, too, I think the ranch is like actually leased or something to an oil company. So there's like oil rigs and drills, and you have to go through a gate to get there. But they still have rights to fish and hunt and use the land however they want or whatever. So it's just a really different place, but it's private. I mean, to get there, you either got to go by boat or you have to, be invited, I guess.
I think one of the other things was this was like the first time we had a chance to use the Torpedo on a shoot.
That's right. We did bring the Torpedo when we had it on the Kraken, I think.
Yeah. And
the big rig.
I think at one point it was like one kayak towing 5 or 4 at least side by side.
Yeah, that's right.
Super cool. Let's check in on a couple people here real quick, and then we'll get this episode going. Dave Fabian, your opinion on snakeheads? Well, I thought I'd caught snakeheads, and I guess I haven't. I've caught what's the other thing that looks
bowfin
like
down in with
bowfin? Yeah. But I hear snakehead are super cool, fun to catch. You've caught more of them, haven't you?
I actually haven't. I mean, same as you. I went down there with the closest I've gotten, I guess, would be bowfin with Chris Funk down in the swamp. It's a fish. It's not where I'm at. It's a little further north for the most part, but they look very similar. And I hear they eat good too. And since they're invasive, a lot of people will keep them and eat them. But it looks like they just smack a spinnerbait, like just destroy it.
Well, yeah, if they hit anything like the bowfin did,
yeah,
they got to be a kick in the pants because it's just super fun fish to catch.
You just get crazy when you hook them.
Yeah, Dave Thomas says, "Hey, how you doing, man?" Dave Swindley, that beard. Yeah, you're just becoming the beard now.
It is taking
Andrew, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us. What is it? Gene says it's time to crank up the beard mower, the weed whacker. Well, I think my hair is growing out again.
Oh, you want to do a round two?
Yeah, I think we need a round two. But where that one was redfish, which is definitely more your specialty than mine.
Yeah.
I think you need to come out like this way and we go fishing for calico bass or yellowtail or something that's more in my wheelhouse.
I like the idea of that. I've caught some calicos with you on trips out there before, but I've never caught a yellowtail. So that would be a fun trip. And coming back to that, I think that's where it came from. I was probably smack talking that we were going to be in my backyard, not necessarily my backyard, but, my wheelhouse, like inshore fishing, and that I would outfish you because of that. And that's when the challenge probably came about, or what, I'm sure that it had something to do with me instigating that I would outfish you. And then
I wouldn't
sort of like thinking, maybe I shouldn't have put that.
Well, as we mentioned, there's usually some beverages involved. And when there's beverages, there's a lot of smack talk going on too. Dave Swindley says, "Hey, watching from Australia. Love your work, Jim." Hey, David, I love your work, man. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's awesome. Thanks for joining us from Australia, dude. I appreciate it. I got to pop this one up. James Macbeth looking like Colonel Sanders. Yeah, a little bit. Going for the no mustache and goat right now. So I've been on lockdown so long, it's just like just doing different stuff. Anyway, we could sit here and just yabber the whole time, or we could actually get the episode going. So I say we get the episode going. There it is.
This week on the Kayak Fishing Show, we are in Texas at the Mansky Ranch. We're with our old buddy, Will Mansky. We are with our good friend, Jeff Herman from Jackson Kayak and Jameson Redding from Jackson Kayak. We're out here chasing redfish and trout and just having a great time. We got a big challenge going on. Maybe at the end of this show, you might see some of this hair gone, or you might see the beard gone. I'm hoping it's the hair. Really don't like it. Stick around. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, I had to throw that in.
Of course you would say that.
It is true. My wife is a much bigger fan of the longer hair than I am.
So I thought my wife would be all for the shave, but as time got closer, she wanted the whole bet to be called off because I think she's afraid of what might be under here. She was like, "No, you can't do that. You can't shave it. You got to win." So Brooks. Woohoo!
Jackson Kayak's Kayak Fishing Show is brought to you by Jackson Kayak. One family, many waters. Seagar, always the best in fluorocarbon, braid, and monofilament fishing line. Yak Attack, leading a revolution in kayak fishing accessories. Mountain Khaki, live life untucked. Shark Shield, the world's only proven and tested shark deterrent technology. And Hook One, everything you need to get out there and hook one. This week on Jackson Kayak's Kayak Fishing Show, the competition is heating up in the flats of East Texas. Jim is joined by Jeff Herman, Jameson Redding, and their host Will Mansky at the incredible Mansky Ranch, a private cattle ranch off the beaten path that's home to some hard-fighting redfish.
It's calm, but the winds are almost here. Give it a few minutes.
It's also home to fire ants.
Gale force, baby.
That's the first time you get bit by fire ants.
It's calm enough right now. You can see them fart. If we're paddling along, you see little bloop, bloop, bloop bubbles. That's what you cast at.
Fish farts. Casting Fish farts. Well, basically, the last time we saw Jameson, I think over some cocktails, some banter started going about this upcoming trip, about who was going to outfish
That hair was long.
Yeah, Will
And
says.
of course, then some other instigator had to jump in with a bet. Will. And that was that whoever caught the most fish, most variety fish, biggest fish in combination thereof, the loser had to remove some hair. And for me, it's this long hair that my wife loves. And for Jameson, it's the beard. So we've got a little challenge going. I'm rooting for me.
So most of you who know me know that I've had the beard for a while. It's something I'm pretty proud of. You know, I've been growing it out for probably almost a year now.
Young.
I trim it every once in a while, but I can't remember the last time I shaved. And I don't know that I ever want to. So I went into this really trying to keep the beard. My wife likes the beard, and who wants to get beat in the first place?
Right.
We started out on the Mansky Ranch, which was an
Yeah,
awesome place.
So there's that
Tons of
comparison again,
land, but
Jameson.
you know what's even better than
Look at
that?
that
There's
thing.
tons of marsh just to
It was a
explore
lot
and get
shorter
back
then.
in and just,
Yeah.
you wouldn't even think there would be fish back there in these little small ponds that were trapped.
I think it's funny that I put the torpedo on the most
We got
efficient
back in there and we got to get into
fishing
some red
kayak
fish.
that we
We
had.
hung out with Will Mansky.
instead of the
Great
big rig.
place.
I don't know why I
Awesome
did
fish. Will Mansky was an awesome host.
We visited the Mansky Ranch about 5-6 years ago when we were first started shooting video. We weren't even shooting a TV show yet, to do a Heroes on the Water event. It was a super cool place, but unfortunately, when we went, we didn't have the opportunity to fish because it was so windy.
So the cool thing about all these marshes on the Gulf Coast is that a lot of them you have fresh water that comes out of the rivers in there, and they dump in. It almost goes into like a delta or a marsh, and that fresh water.
Yes, we were
feeds that
likely
marsh.
drunk.
And everything starts growing. It starts this whole life cycle where the brackish salt water kind of meets the fresh water, and it's a constant give and take from the tides and everything like that. Well, all that life is just, you know, thriving in there, which makes the redfish want to come in and feed on the crabs and the shrimp and the finger mullet that are back in those areas. So it's really cool, especially when you get the tide changes. You get water coming out, pulling the bait out, so the fish are feeding as it goes out.
I'm just making all
Same
this
thing
up, by the
happens as
way.
it comes in. They're just waiting until it gets deep enough.
I have no
to
idea
get
what
back
I'm
in
talking
there
about.
and feed on those things they can't get to during low tide.
For this episode of the Kayak Fishing Show, I've been paddling the Jackson Kayak Big Rig. I like a boat for this type of fishing that I'm comfortable standing in. I don't stand in kayaks a whole lot. So having a boat that I just feel rock solid.
That's a pretty fancy move right there.
That was pretty.
Side casting and fighting the fish. The Big Rig is just such a great platform.
That is an
for this.
insane
On the back
standing
of the Big Rig, I
platform.
have
The
the
Big
powerful
Rig.
micro
Yeah, if you're going
anchor
to spend
and
all day
to be
standing
able
up and moving
fishing
around in
this
there,
new
and then we got some
pad
other team members
and
that
set
do a lot
up
of sight
and
fishing and
make
still
those
love that
accurate
the
casts.
old school
It's just
big rig
such
because
a
of that.
great platform.
Yeah,
for
it's
this type of
crazy
fishing.
stable.
The boat that Will's been paddling on this trip is.
I mean, I caught a tarpon standing up in it.
Actually, the first boat off the line.
Not on this trip,
It's
unfortunately.
a thermoform
Yeah,
boat
no
rather than a rotomolded boat. So it's
Those
lighter
boats
than
were
your
so
normal Cuda.
awesome. Lightweight.
Because of the different material it's made out of. It's a nice, fast boat, still good and stable.
When we come back, Jim struggles to keep up as Jameson starts pulling in fish after fish.
Fish after fish.
Jameson's is getting an insurmountable lead.
It was kind of ridiculous, but we know now what
The
the
Kayak
situation
Fishing
is.
Show is brought to you in
Yeah.
part by Jackson Kayak. One family, many waters. Learn more at jacksonkayak.com.
So, yeah, so that was the first little bit, you know, the intro. Cool place, though. I mean, those fishing that skinny water, and again, for me, fishing skinny water, you know, I do it once or twice, if that, a year.
Yeah.
So it is a very different fishery for me.
What was different there, though, too, is it wasn't like, you know, you typically think, oh, you could go sight fish, but the water was pretty dirty. So without seeing the movement on the surface, we couldn't really just spot fish unless you were like already over top of them. Or,
Right. Yeah, there was no real sight fishing unless their tail was up or you saw a bloom of mud. You weren't gonna really sight casting. Will says, I just wanted Jim to cut that hippie hair.
Like you're the hippie and I'm like the homeless guy that lives under the
bridge. Will says, I get it on good authority that Jameson has a giant mole under that beard.
It's just my chin.
I remember him having something else living in that beard.
I don't even remember where we were when you did that. That was in the Bahamas, was it?
I don't know, but I know we laughed.
Oh, I think so that's one thing I'll say about this trip and every trip. It doesn't matter if we're catching fish, there's a challenge. I think we laugh harder than anybody does. I mean, there's no way people have as good a time as we do when we get together on a trip.
Yeah, it's always a laugh riot, and combined with, like I said, Jeff Herman's such an awesome dude, and he is so funny. I sent him an email actually today. Hopefully, he's going to be on the show with me on Thursday.
Awesome,
for another one. But super great guys. Will Mansky was such an awesome host, and also a very cool guy. Rick Edwards says, "What's up?" Again, thank you for watching over on Kayak Fishing Tales, our YouTube channel. So let's get this thing rolling again. The next segment. Oh, and Will says your beard is so much less ridiculous.
Kayak Fishing Show is brought to you in
less ridiculous than my hair?
Attack,
I'm just trying to figure out if he means then or now. This is pretty amazing right now.
Welcome back. This week we're at the Mansky Ranch in East Texas with Jeff Herman and Jameson Redding on the hunt for red drum, flounder, and trout.
We are down here in Texas, and we're going to go to the legendary Mansky Ranch in Port Lavaca, or very close to Port Lavaca. It's at the northern reaches of Lavaca Bay, which is right central on the Texas coast. This week they came up with the Beard vs. Locks challenge. Jameson Redding and that giant beard of his, and Jim with his new hippie hair are going to go at it and see who can catch the most fish. Guy with the most fish gets to keep the hair. Loser's got to shave it off. So I'm refereeing, watching the big contest between the two of them, and hopefully we'll have a winner and see what happens when the shears or clippers come out.
One of the really cool things about where we are here at the Mansky Ranch is it's gated community, basically, or gated property. Nobody gets out here other than oil workers and guests at the Mansky Ranch.
Hey, my name is Will Mansky. We're out here in Vanderbilt, Texas, out at our hunting lease. It's just probably about 10 miles from the coast, Port Lavaca, or the city of Port Lavaca. And it's composed of about 4,000 acres of marshland and about 1,500 acres of high ground. The setup out here for kayak fishing is perfect, especially for me, because I can basically drive out to a marsh pond and unload my boat. And that's kind of what got me into it initially, is like, well, I don't want the hassle of owning a power boat.
And as you can see, it was windy.
And I can just come out here, drive my
It got worse.
Launch my boat and be on top of the fish within 5 minutes. So it just kind of works out. I look at it as hunting the fish, where I'm not actually sitting there just casting into a hole. I'll go out there and just look. I'll start looking for tails, looking for bait movement, looking for, the grass moving even, and hunt them down that way. And it's just a lot of fun.
This week, while we were targeting redfish at the Mansky Ranch, I was using a nice low-profile reel loaded with 30-pound Seaguar Kanzim braid. I really like that sensitivity. The fish were a little bit line shy. Wanted to make sure, because that's when I started getting bit, that I put on the Seaguar 20-pound fluorocarbon
This was
leader.
key right here.
I did not get a bite until I put on the Seaguar fluorocarbon leader. It really, really helps. The rod I was using, APR Apex Graphite, sensitive power. This thing, I could feel those little subtle bites sometimes. When those fish hit, I could really set the hook. It was fantastic. The go-to lure. This thing caught.
So this is a sad moment for me because they don't make this bait anymore.
This was a Z-Man crab.
Is that right?
The very cool
That's
thing
right.
about
They
these
just didn't
Z-Man
sell well
is
for them, but
that when
as
the
you can
lead
see,
head
they worked.
drops, the
I just don't
body
think a lot of
floats a
people
little bit,
gave them
so
a
these
try.
pinchers are up in the air. The plastic they use is extremely
That was just me taunting you.
So they last for fish after fish after fish. I mean, I used one lure.
That's because I would only let him
I
have
caught
one.
at the Mansky Ranch. I think Jameson used one
This is
lure
your
for every
chance.
fish that he caught at the Mansky Ranch, and he caught a lot more than I did. That's the gear I was using down here in Texas. Check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that crab I've had to
Jeff
search
said,
and use
no
other
big deal.
things
You
to
just
replace
fish straight
that.
braid this morning, and so I was fishing straight braid. Jameson's been fishing fluorocarbon, and he's got 7 fish. About 5 minutes ago, I switched to fluorocarbon. That was probably my second, third cast with the fluorocarbon leader. So I switched to the Seagar, and I got a fish. Finally on the board. Thank you. Thank you. I finally got one. 7-1. Thank you, Seagar fluorocarbon. Getting me on the board.
It was crazy because you see how we're sitting right there. I mean, we're not more than 15
Jackson
feet
Kayak's
apart
Kayak Fishing
and
Show is
casting
brought
in the
to you
same
by-
hole. And, I was just pulling fish after fish out. And it wasn't until you switched to the fluorocarbon. And like I said, it wasn't like it was clear water. I mean, that water was dirty. Like you weren't seeing the fish. So it did surprise me that they were line shy, but we were more finesse fishing. It wasn't like we were ripping baits through there. We were kind of just dragging them across the bottom. So I think they had time to really kind of analyze that presentation.
Yeah, and I don't know if we stepped on it, if we were talking, or if it had been said there. Jeff Herman.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff Herman said, dude, this water's so dirty. I just fish straight braid. Just fish straight braid. You don't need to break out the fluorocarbon. So what do? I fish straight braid. What happens? I'm down 7-1. 7-1. Jameson's fishing fluorocarbon. I'm not. Right there, you saw I put on a fluorocarbon leader. 2 casts later, I'm on a fish. It really can make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, we're casting to the same point, and we're literally just dragging those crabs real slow with the pawls so they have time to kind of float up a little bit. And you were fishing the same way with the same bait, everything, and until that fluorocarbon leader got put on, it was shut down.
Yeah, that was just, we were fishing. You can see we were using the power poles, kind of anchored up, casting down to a little bit of a pinch point. I don't know if there was a hole right there.
Yeah, I think it was just where all the water came through. It probably did create a little bit of a belly, but it was just they had to travel through there during the tide changes.
Yeah, because it was, I mean, obviously much better for you than me.
We sat there for like, I don't know how many hours too. I think, so one thing we haven't mentioned in
Jameson's
this,
hole.
Jameson's hole.
We sat there and pounded Jameson's hole.
It was affectionately called Jameson's hole. This is true. I think Herman might have given it that name, which was kind of funny. But what I was going to say is the challenge. I don't know if we laid down the parameters of the challenge. It wasn't just most fish. It was 3 categories, which was most fish, largest fish, and most species. And you had to basically do the 2 out of 3. Which I'm not going to give it away, but you had to do the 2 out of 3 categories to find out, or to be successful. So that first day was all about just putting numbers on the board. I mean, and I don't think we caught anything but redfish the first day. I don't remember any other species.
Yeah, it sounds as I recall. I mean, it was a long time ago, but
I got it memorized.
Gene has a great. I still have a pack of those Z-Man crabs. I'll let it go for $50.
They work, and you can get away with if you can imitate a crab. Like they've got some crawfish type baits that you can that still float up, and you can just imitate that same thing. And then I use the cranka crabs now, which we've shared on your show before. Those ones from Australia that are really designed for their brim down there, but man, they work. I mean, redfish feed on crabs. It's just all there is to it.
Yeah, that was, and those cranky crabs are awesome. They really are. So let's get this thing back rolling.
By Hook One. Everything you need to get out there and hook one.
I love hearing Will's voice.
Will's narrator voice.
Yeah, it's not his real voice.
Jackson Kayak's Kayak Fishing Show is brought to you in part by Shark Shield, makers of the Freedom 7, a compact, versatile, and lightweight personal shark deterrent system. Welcome back. This week, Jim is fishing with Jeff Herman, Will Mansky, and Jameson Redding in East Texas, where the Beard versus Locks Challenge is well underway. Jim is starting to worry about losing all his hair as Jameson pulls a substantial lead by the end of day one. Even though the score stands at 7-1, Jim is never one to give up.
We
I
went
always
over
thought
and,
those pants
worked
made
in
my
a
butt look
oyster
nice,
bed,
by the way.
kind of spread out a little bit, and I hear, look at, that's the sound.
Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah. And that's exactly how Jameson sounds.
I don't think anybody's going to comment on that one, Jameson.
Well, they know it's true.
Oh, yeah, nice. That's a big old boil.
Well, my technique is I basically hunt the fish. I look for calm, low tides, and I'll get back into the marshes and just try to find tailing reds or just signs of bait fish being pushed up against the banks. And that's where I start casting. I consider it hunting more than fishing, though. Whereas I'm not going to sit at most cuts and just pound the water. But that's because I have ADHD or something.
So we get everything unloaded and we get on the water and we head back in there and we're just kind of looking for fish. We're not really being able to see them that well. And sometimes, quite frankly, by the time we did see them, it was too late and we were over the fish. The wind had put a little chop on the water. But once we got set up in kind of what I would call a highway for them, where a couple of the lakes kind of come together and you've got that moving tidal water, you know the fish have to go through there as that tide's falling.
Pretty old little redfish right there. It looks like a crab got the end of my my lure right before this redfish got it. Maybe the redfish took it off, who knows. There we go. Off the schneid for the day. That feels good. Let's go back to Jameson's hole and see what's happening.
Oh, yeah, that was nice. Big
I
old
thought that was
splash.
in there.
That is fun, man. Catching these things standing up here in the big rig. Got the power pole, holding myself in place. It's pretty windy, but able to just hold myself in place with that power pole.
I tell you, that
Good
power
fun,
pole is
man.
worth its weight in gold in these kind of conditions.
Right.
A lot of people use it to, stop themselves or anchor, they say. But like when I hook a fish, I like to be able to drop the power pole so that I'm not continuing to drift across a flat or whatever that might hold fish. So I don't just use it to anchor and start casting. I actually sometimes don't even drop it till I
I
hook
don't
the fish.
mind.
That makes sense.
losing. If you got to lose, you got to lose. But I don't want to get destroyed, and I'm getting destroyed.
I think we finished that day 10 to
As
3.
kayaks get bigger and more stable, they get harder to get to the water. That's where a good kayak trailer comes in. This week, Jameson Redding has a few simple tips for strapping down your kayaks. In
This
the
should be
kayak
good.
fishing tip of the week,
Oh, I'm sure
brought
it's
to you by
awesome.
Ram Kayak Mounts. Innovative
I've only
mounting
lost
system,
one.
proudly made in the USA.
Just
When
don't
strapping
leave the
stuff to
rod
trailer
doors
or
open.
car top or anything for that matter, usually the person that owns the trailer and said boats is the guy that's in charge of strapping it. Nobody wants to be responsible for someone else's gear. So I have no problem with that. I know how I like mine to be strapped, and then if something happens, it's my fault. But I want to give you a few tips on how to strap and how to make sure that that load is secure so that you don't have a kayak sliding down the freeway just in the way of everybody driving. What I like to do is I use the cam straps, and typically all the Malone kayak J-style cradles will come with the straps you need to strap kayaks to them. So I run the cam strap around the boat, but you want to make sure that the buckle is to where when you feed the line back through it, you're pulling down. You can, if you're trying to pull up, you'll never be able to get it as tight as you need to get it. But when you pull down, you can pull it as tight as you want. You can even bend the boat. You don't have to do that. You don't have to go that tight, but you want it nice and secure so that when you shake that boat, the trailer is shaking, not the boat on top of the trailer. When I'm driving, and I've never had one really loosen up unless I have something shift on the bottom, the strap
Should have
doesn't
said
come
yes.
loose, but maybe
Never
whatever
had one.
pressure on that boat, whether it be a foam pad or something, that could come loose and create slack in the line. So every time I stop to fill up my truck while the gas is pumping, I just make a quick check on all my straps. I check all the kayaks, and that'll keep you from losing that boat and give you peace of mind. And you've got
That's
mirrors
my
on the
truck.
truck.
That's my
Every
old
once
truck.
in a while, look
Yeah,
in the
I
mirrors.
actually was driving the car that
Straps
day
are
that
flying
got filmed. I
loose
remember
everywhere,
this
and you don't see any kind of
out
unnecessary
at San Diego when we went
simple
to
things you can do to make sure that your boat
right
stays
before our
secured
rental
on
car
trip.
keys.
Stay tuned. When we return, Jim struggles to keep up as the winds build off the coast.
Starting to see a theme here.
Jackson Kayak
Yeah.
Kayak Fishing
I think
Show
Will
is brought to you in
enjoys
part
that,
by
too.
InReach Explorer, the only truly global satellite communicator with built-in navigation, including waypoints and routing.
He's all Jim gives me crap on every shoot. So any
Let
opportunity,
me stick it.
yeah.
Stick it through.
Like if he gets a shot of me without a shirt on, it's like, and I ain't exactly svelte. I'm like, nobody needs to see that. He will stick it in the episode. Just like, yeah, people do need to see that you're fat.
I think what was it the guy said on the beach that day that, you know,
Oh,
I gotta tell this story real quick. So we're out on the beach. This is the first time I ever met Jim, and mind you, I'm a big fan of the Kayak Fishing Show, always have been, and it was part of me getting into kayak fishing. So it's a big deal for me to be hanging out with Jim, and I didn't know what to expect, and we became really good friends. I think right off the bat, you know, you were just really down to earth, and so we hit it off. But we were out at the beach a couple of days maybe, and this is the first time I met Will.
Right.
As well, and we were kind of getting ready, standing there with a big production camera and filming and everything else, and this guy's talking to us. It's getting ready to launch, and I don't remember what brought it up, but he said something like, "I've even seen that guy Jim Sammons that has the show out here before," and you were standing like right there with us, and like, "Oh, really? What does he look like? Anybody? You know?" And he's kind of like, "Well, he kind of looks like you," and he points to Jim. He's like, "But he's much bigger than you." So it goes to show that the camera adds at least 10 pounds. It added so much that you weren't even recognizable. You look like that guy, but not as big. So.
Yeah, and he would not believe me. I'm like, yeah, I am him. And he's like, no.
Yeah, no, it was pretty funny because it was just like he's you, but only you're smaller.
Yeah, and like I said, we had the big camera there and everything on the tripod.
Holding it while, just standing there with the camera while you're having this conversation.
Nah, but you're not him.
No, it can't be you. That was funny.
Oh, Mitch LeCoupe says hello. How you doing, Mitch? Thanks for joining us as always. Mitch says this is how he moves his 360. Mitch has a Blue Sky Angler 360. Very cool. Jose, thanks for joining us from Puerto Rico, man. Hope things are good out there. I see from my friend Omar that you are actually allowed to go fishing out there now, so that's a good thing. So let's get this thing going again. See who wins.
You buy Seaguar.
I hate to say it, but I think it might be episode 2 that we've
and monofilament fishing line. This week,
you may be
Jim
right.
Sammons, Jameson Redding, and Jeff Herman are guests at the Mansky Ranch. The guys are heading out for one last day on the water before big winds build up, and they're forced to switch locations.
All right, round 2, we're going to just try to hit the marsh again. We've heard there's some fish holding up a little bit closer to the bay, so we're going to make a little long paddle this morning and see what we can find.
So day 2's here, and we decide we're going to try to go look for some fish in a little bit of different area and move away from that little redfish alley that we affectionately named Jameson's Hole, since I was able to put it quite a hurting on everybody else there that day. Really, it was just luck, but I don't tell anyone else that. So we decide we're going to go on a little bit of a paddle and maybe target some trout in the water where there was a little bit more current moving, and also hit some oyster reefs to see if there were any redfish hanging around there.
Fish on.
Fish on.
Trout right here.
Fish on.
This is where I was like,
Z-Man plastic.
it's time to.
Favorite trout plastic right there. Cannot beat that color.
Add those multiple species to the chart.
Right.
Trout on it, like your chicken color.
This is where you really started running away.
Z-Man plastics, they can't tear it up. Beautiful little fish. They're actually really good to eat too. We're gonna let this guy go.
I don't know if it's shown on here, but at some point you cast over my line, and I'm like, "Hey, can you get that untangled?" And you just cut my lure off and tie it on yours.
I
I'm like,
think he had a trout.
"We're playing dirty now."
I wouldn't do that.
My hair is just like hiding. I'm already scared. I mean, because I'm in trouble. I mean, he's got species, numbers, biggest already. I mean, they just right there at the first cast of day 2. But, you know, never wanted to give up, just keep trudging along. And I look over, and okay,
This is
not
what
only is he adding to the numbers,
It wasn't.
he's got another species.
It wasn't a big one.
Now he's got a flounder.
nail,
So
nail in the
I
coffin.
mean, I'm not thrilled. Thankfully, a few minutes later, I caught a redfish. I don't remember if I caught another one after that or not, but at least I sort of kept my foot in the game, if you will. But I'm still got a long way to go if I'm going to catch up. Pretty redfish. Jameson just caught a flounder, so we'd seen a couple redfish on this oyster reef. So stopped, made a couple of casts, and of course I turn around and Jameson's got a flounder, which really kills me. But and I hooked this nice little redfish.
So I got the trout. I got the flounder. No real size to them. Jim picked up a couple of redfish. I actually didn't catch any redfish in that area. So we decided, you know what, it's not a lot going on in this particular spot. We were going to head back in and go back to the same spot where we had found the redfish the day before. So in this situation, it really came in handy. The wind started picking up. We had quite the paddle. I happened to have the Torpedo motor on the back of my kayak, which was the Jim Sammons Kraken Signature Series boat. And I was able to help everyone else get there so we could save our energy for catching those redfish. This is 5 wide.
Torpedo's
We had
awesome.
5 boats.
5 boats, maintaining about 2.5, 2.7 miles an hour.
Yeah, the Torpedoes are cool, man.
Now we can save all of our energy for fighting the fish.
I wish we had the 1103 back then. That was the 403.
For the very first
Right.
time, the Torpedo 403 ultralight motor. And I tell you what, that thing is fun and it is fast. If you want to be able to extend some trips, if you know you're going to have a heck of a long paddle back into a headwind, into current, I tell you what, this is something you might want to look at. If you want to have that longer trip, or to have the hands-free fishing for trolling, it's just a really nice unit. I think one of the things that impressed me the most about it, unlike some other motor solutions in kayaks, the battery and the whole unit is incredibly lightweight. It's not weighing down your kayak. You don't have that giant car battery in there. The battery for this thing is small and light, but it'll still run all day. That's the Torpedo 403 ultralight kayak motor. You can find it online or look for it at Hook One Kayak Fishing Gear.
And with that, we pack up the trailer and bid a fond farewell to the Mansky Ranch. Join us again next week as the Beard vs. Locks challenge continues and Jim tries to close the widening gap.
I did close the gap a little bit.
Yes. So, you're going to be showing next week's episode with Jeff, I'm assuming, or I don't know.
He's got a thick head.
I'm gonna see if I can get Dean on here, but I'll give it up here because I've got it all queued up.
Very pretty fish.
I did manage to make this a little bit of a closer
Yeah, you did.
battle. We went over and fished with Dean Thomas.
Such an incredible guy, too. I'd never met him either.
Talk about laughing your butt off. And if you don't know Dean Thomas is like, he's an old dude like me. I mean, he's been in kayak fishing a long time. But he's absolutely hilarious. And that part of the trip was my first experience casting to tailing reds.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of before that, I didn't really get the whole redfish thing. It was like, okay, but to see those things tailing, I mean, it was like hunting and like Mansky was saying there. But seeing that tail pop up, the adrenaline starts going, and you try to make a good cast. And I did catch quite a few fish, and like I said, I did kind of catch up. But
you definitely caught up. Yeah, I was just struggling. I think I also was a little under the weather. At least I'm going to say that I was on something. But yeah, I mean, it was like immediately we launched, and it was so picturesque that morning. It was very foggy, and the water, there was no wind, which was the only day that whole trip that I remember it being just flat calm. I mean, it would start out calm some of the mornings, but that morning it was just like flat. but it was also duck season. So I remember like we're paddling out.
That's
and
right.
Duck blinds with people shooting like over us, basically. Like it got a little bit kind of crazy there early in the morning, but yeah, then seeing when the water level dropped and the tails started popping up was just.
And I saw that.
incredible.
I saw that one tail. That, I mean, you saw a bunch where the tail would just kind of tip up, you know, and I saw the one that was like 2 hands wide. It was so big. And I made the super adrenaline cast and launched it like 10 feet over the fish into a tree behind it. So I just dropped my rod, threw my other lure at it, and literally hit it in the side of the head. So, but like I said, I'm willing to show the results of how this went today just because I had it queued up. So there's kind of me. We went to this super cool barber shop, and that's all my hair in my hands. And
I actually got to do part of it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Jameson got to actually do some of the shaving of my head. And it actually felt really good to get rid of all that long hair. But
people tell me it would feel good to shave the beard, but then I tell them that, nah.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like I said, we just laughed and laughed, and I said it continued on, you know, into the second episode. But I wanted to share it here since I had you on here and give you your props.
I would be willing. You know what? I don't know if my beard's got enough clout to raise any money for charity, but I would be willing to consider a challenge of some sort for a charitable cause that would end in me potentially having to shave my beard. So if anyone has any ideas and wants to throw them out there.
Well, then what we're going to do is we're going to actually go bass fishing, and we're going to put Kevin Van Dam in the kayak up against you. So that
I'm definitely going
to we can guarantee
I'm not that good at bass fishing for one. Maybe if he just doesn't know how to paddle, I might have a chance. But it'd be cool to go fish with Kevin Van Dam, so I'll do that. You heard that right here, Kevin. I know you're watching.
He watches every episode.
I will fish against you for my beard.
Tommy saying hello from Industry, California. Mitch, you coming up to Canada when the border is open again? I don't know. More than likely, I will be doing more shoots like domestically or like up in Canada, that kind of thing, where it might be easier to travel to. And since my producer's up there and everything, it's a very good possibility because we just because the way things have gone, we have to keep our costs down. Gene said, so cool. I'm assuming, yeah, my head was very cool once I kept my hair off. Jose, all good. Just dropped my big rig FD last Sunday. Awesome experience, but still have my 2015 Kraken camo. Awesome boats. Yeah. Well, that's two opposite ends of the spectrum right there. You know, you have the big rig, pedal drive, super, super stable. And then you can go offshore in your Kraken. So you got the best of both worlds with those two boats. Yeah. I'll give you a Canadian loonie for the beard off. There you go.
I'm not sure what that's.
So anyway, Jameson, thanks, man. I appreciate you joining me here today. I really appreciate it. Anything going on? What are you doing nowadays?
I mean, we're still doing, you know, Jackson Kayak is sold like phenomenally well recently, which is kind of crazy in all this, but so they've been working hard, and I've been trying to help out with some of the direction of what we're going to do to make improvements to the current line and things like that, and then also working on some video projects as we, you know, continue the marketing effort. Also been helping the local marina here because they've been selling boats like crazy. I mean, it is kind of nuts how you know, you would think the economy would be struggling in this, and I'm sure it is in a lot of places where businesses just can't physically open due to the risk. But people are buying kayaks right now. And
well, yeah, you know, for a large point, like they're saying, you know, a lot of bike shops can't keep bikes in stock.
It's kind of interesting. I think it's forced people to do new stuff. Yeah, I mean, you're spending time doing things that you may have not done. I mean, I see a lot of people that are
exercising and losing weight and taking a look at their self situation, more so than so it's.
Well, yeah,
to find positive things in all the bad, is nice.
Yeah, and like I said, people aren't not necessarily going to be able to go on a vacation this year,
right?
So investing on stuff they can do at home. Like I said, that's why bike shops are selling so many bikes, and I think that's why the kayak sales have actually been pretty good. Which is, it's great for all of us in this industry. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now we just need things to open up a little bit more so we can get out there and start shooting. And
you just have to be smart about it, and keep your social distancing. I don't remember who it was or posted it, but they said a rod length. I think it was Z-Man actually. They posted a thing that said, a rod length apart. Rods 6 to 7 feet apart.
Right. You
could go fishing. Just keep that rod length between you and your buddy, which is never a bad idea anyway. So
yeah,
just got to practice. Be common sense. Just be smart about it,
and be nice to each other.
God,
damn it!
Let's get together. And,
stop being jerks.
Quit.
We
have to live here.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. Well, I will let you go. Like I said, I'll let you know about the big announcement later on. But
I'm curious if I already know. I don't know if
you might already know. I think I may have told you.
Yeah. I'm privileged, guys. I will sell this information.
You're in the inner circle.
I will sell this info for that Canadian lady.
Anyway, brother, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate
Always
it.
A good time, man. Send some of that good beer over here. See ya.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. I really appreciate that. We have a lot of fun doing these. Again, we have a big announcement tomorrow, so please make sure you visit the page or pay attention. And my plan is maybe to go live, but I'm not 100% sure. Kind of depends on when we get everything together. But there will be an announcement tomorrow about what's going on with the Kayak Fishing Show. Other than that, on Thursday, our next episode is another one of the throwback episodes, and it will be our fly fishing trip to Montana from season 1. So again, that's back the old ocean kayak years. So I hope you can join us. Again, I appreciate everybody who joins us every week and watches this nonsense, because we enjoy doing it. You all take care. If you're going out on the water, remember, please always wear your PFD. Keep your paddle right side up. We're out.